to him the nose guard.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to announce episode 1. I'm Cole Bebart. This is my co-host, Irvin Godinez. This is my good friend, Zachary. He's joining us today. He is a 5-time all-conference player, Massillon Perry native, also a 2-time all-region and a all-American. Zach also spent a year in the Indoor Football League. And welcome aboard, Zach.
The dog.
Nice to be here.
All right, Zach. We just want to kind of get the ball rolling here. Me and you are real close. I just want to, fill Irvin a little bit. Will you tell us a little bit about yourself and where you came from and your life?
Absolutely, yeah. So I was born in Canton, the city of football. So it's just was kind of my dream to always play football growing up. Ended up moving when my parents got divorced, went to a suburb of Canton called Massillon, went to Massillon Perry, played football ever since 3rd grade growing up, to high school, to college. It's really shaped me to who I've been. I had a really strict, disciplined, old school coach in high school that kind of installed just that grind in me that always really made me want to play better. I don't know if you remember, I always wanted to do better at college, even us as an entire team. I'm sure you remember some of those stories that you have of me doing that.
I got plenty, brother. I got plenty. Take us through your high school days a little bit. Tell us about how it was, growing up in Canton, Ohio, what it meant to you, and also a little bit about your upbringing.
Absolutely. So I grew up in Canton. I played 3 sports growing up. I wrestled. I was a pretty good wrestler growing up. I went to a really good high school for that. I played baseball, and then to grow up in the Hall of Fame city, for football, where everything, every day, every year is all football. That's all we talk about here. It just kind of made me want to play football. I always wanted to be in the Hall of Fame. I did fall short of that, but it doesn't take away from who I was. So I had 2 older brothers who we were all really competitive growing up, just wanted to be the best. I like to say I'm the best athlete in the family. My oldest brother played professional baseball over in Germany, so it's up for debate. So I played a lot of sports growing up, always traveling, always going everywhere, wrestling in Virginia Beach for the national duels, going to play in the Perfect Game tournament, growing up for baseball. But then my sophomore year of high school is where it kind of switched to football was what I really wanted to do, because everybody in Canton was football. My dad played high school football, but I was a wrestler at first. I loved wrestling. It was just something in me that I liked, the physical dominance that you could do in wrestling to oppose your will on somebody. And then my sophomore year, I started at Massillon Perry. We had a really good team. Keyshawn Sims, Mr. Ohio for the 2015 season, I want to say. The 2015 football year. I played alongside the Mr. Ohio running back. I started all 15 games. We made it to the state title game as a sophomore, 6'2", 160 pounds, going against kids that were a lot bigger than me and everything like that. Pure traditional D end. And then junior year came around. I started 15 games both ways. Had a sour taste in my mouth because we got blown out in the state title game my sophomore year, 42-0 against Cincinnati LaSalle. Thayer Munford, who played at Ohio State, was there when I played him. He kicked my butt when I was a sophomore. He physically went to hook me when I was in a wide 9. He literally picked me up and just sat me down to hook me. It wasn't like any fight. My feet were dangling in the air and everything. But that left a sour note in my mouth for my junior year. I started 15 games both ways. We ran the wing tee, so a very physical football scheme, and I absolutely loved it. Ended up getting first team All-Ohio for Division II Rolled into my senior year. Was elected team captain. We lost a state title game again to Cincinnati LaSalle. 14-7, I think the game was. They finally took a lead with less than 2 minutes left. So we were out to prove a point. We got bumped up to Division I my senior year for the athletic advantage or whatever it was. I know you have some teams winning multiple state titles in a row and they don't get moved up, but it just happened to be us. So we got moved up to D1. I played really good my senior year. I got first team all conference, first team all region, the county and region MVP for defense, first team all Ohio, and I was on the list for the Mr. Football for the defense, so the defensive MVP for the entire state. That year, my recruitment was weird. Talked to a few D1 schools, never got an offer. Best story I have, Toledo, I forget the coach who was recruiting me there, told me that they were gonna offer me a scholarship. Wednesday, we played Massillon Jackson, and I ended up having I had a sack, over 15 tackles, a few TFLs, and then they asked me to be a PWO, preferred walk-on. So I don't know what was there with that, but my best recruiting story, Coach Campbell out of Iowa State came into our wrestling room to talk to me. He's a Mount Union guy. He's from my high school. His brother was our athletic director. Personally came into our wrestling room to talk to me during wrestling season to try to get me to go there. But I don't know. I didn't have the best grades. I really to get a PWO to Iowa State. That was the year that they beat Oklahoma and Baker. So that was really cool to me, but I didn't feel like I was personally good enough to. Because one thing that my high school coach always instilled in me was nothing was good enough. You're not going to be good enough, and just try to push you that way through his mentality. So I kind of idolized that. It was like that I'm not good enough. So I shied away from that, and I ended up going to some small schools. I visited Wheeling, and the only two D3 schools to recruit me were Heidelberg, which I committed, and then after I committed, Mount Union saw me at districts for wrestling because I was still wrestling at the time. And they offered me a scholarship, the Division III scholarship, whatever it was, to play there. But growing up in Canton, Alliance is 30 minutes away. And my dad, who's a wrestling coach at Canton McKinley, school right by the Hall of Fame, he would always drag us out there to Alliance for tournaments and everything like that. So I grew up just absolutely hating the city of Alliance because I had to spend so much time there that I didn't want to. I think you know how much I hate Mount Union and everything like that. I personally just don't like them. It's go Birds. So yeah, that was my high school journey. Anything else you really want to know about my upbringing?
I just kind of want to know, and I'm sure Irv kind of wants to know too. What was it like playing in the shoe, dude? You were there what, 2 years out of your 4 years in high school?
Yeah.
What was the atmosphere like, and what did it personally mean to you?
So it was awesome. It really was. To me, my school never made it to a state title before. My head coach has been there since the 80s. Never made it there. We had a great group of guys, and when we beat Hudson in the Final Four, it was unreal. It's truly high school football. Champions play in December. Win or lose, champions play in December. It was just an unreal feeling because it's Ohio State. We're down in the shoe. Everybody's dream is to want to play there. You know me, I'm a Michigan fan though, so I was but it's a beautiful, beautiful stadium. It has the turf. I will say it was a bit slippery at the time. The first year we played it, but it was unreal. The atmosphere there, both years we set the attendance record for the state title game down in Columbus. The whole lower bowl was absolutely sold out. It was unreal. But the first year to get your teeth kicked in 42-0 was kind of bittersweet. Yeah. We got the we got the away locker room the first time. I know is really, really small. You'd think like the away locker room at Ohio State Stadium be absolutely huge. I don't know if they've renovated it, but it was really small.
Yeah.
It was a bit bigger than Heidelberg's, but it was just all like gray, just like lockers here and there's benches to sit on. But then my junior year, we got the home field advantage. We were the home team. Let me tell you, Ohio State's locker room is so nice. Literally a little big O in the middle of it, like nice chairs, comfortable chairs to sit in. Lockers were huge. It was unreal. I was like starstruck when I
Yeah.
went in there. And
Mhm.
then the shoe is absolutely a phenomenal place to play.
I'm sure, man.
It even being a Michigan fan, go blue, baby. We're gonna win it this year, 3 years in a row. But
Okay.
like,
Zach.
I know B-Bards. What were you gonna say?
Go
My
ahead.
bad. I was just gonna say, even like being a Michigan fan, it was unreal.
Yeah.
That it's down in Columbus and Ann Arbor are the two best places to play in all of college football, hands down. I know I'm biased because I live in Ohio and maybe a Michigan fan, but it is an electric atmosphere, even for high school games.
Yeah.
College games are even better. You can't beat it. There's nowhere better to play.
Right. Zach, that's pretty awesome to hear those stories about that. And I just got a question for you. After making it to 2 state championship games and getting all those accolades your senior year, and you said you still didn't have any offers from any colleges. How did that make you feel knowing you had all this success in high school you said D2, right?
Yeah, we were D2, and then my senior year we got bumped up to D1, and we
Right.
lost in a close game to St. Ed's in the first round of the playoffs.
So yeah, after all having all that success, and you said you had no offers, how did that make you feel? Did that make you feel some type of way? Was it like disrespect, or was it, just more motivation to get you where you are? Just what was that overall feeling?
No, yeah, it's definitely a bit of disrespect, because like I had people around me being like, "Oh, this person got offered. This person got offered." There was a kid from Massillon Jackson who got offered. He was a great player. He got offered to Toledo. He was an O lineman. Uh, Luke Dye. I don't know if he finished it, but I remember he got an offer and he went to Toledo, and it left me like a sour taste in my mouth because I was like, I'm better than these kids. Like, hands down, I know I'm better than these kids, but they were a bit bigger than me. So they got all the accolades, not the accolades that I didn't get, but like they got the attention that I didn't. And I
Right.
had our AD. Oh, my bad. What were you going to say?
No, go ahead. No, you can go ahead.
Our AD, who's played at Mount, his brother's the head coach at Iowa State, Campbell. He was like, no, like you're one of these guys. Your recruitment's just weird. School will peek in late and like pick you up. And then I just kind of like twiddled my fingers. And when Iowa State, they said I would be well taken care of and I wouldn't have to do anything, but it wasn't a scholarship. So even being a PWO at any Division I program would be a great opportunity. It's just not where I wanted to be. I wanted to be where I was going to go in. I was going to be the best. Like, and if I'm going to be the best, I deserve a scholarship. So then it used it as motivation for me to go in. I chose Heidelberg, a great historic school, Stag Bowl winners. I don't know what year, but they've won a Stag Bowl before, the great D3 national championship, and they hit a rough patch. And when I visited Tiffin, I loved it. In the middle of nowhere, no distractions, anything like that. I loved it. So it definitely gave me motivation when I didn't get those scholarships.
So taking us into college, man. I had the pleasure of playing with you all 4 years I was there. It was a blast, by the way. Many memories with the Zach Blackiston. Let's just say there was a couple tears, too many, because he cares so much. Because he cares so much about success. Okay, but anyway, Zach, like, you're one of my good friends. I just want to know when you got to Heidelberg, if you ever faced any like hard, troubling times, and what football did for you while you were in those.
No, yeah, absolutely. I'm a bit advocate for mental health in general, especially men's mental health. I feel like in our culture and society today. It gets overlooked a little bit. So yeah, I definitely had times in college where I didn't feel like anything. I was diagnosed with depression. I don't know if you knew that about me. I was diagnosed with depression right before COVID. I was dealing with some stuff that happened in my childhood and everything like that. And football was kind of my escape for a while. I could just everything with football, from 7 a.m. lifts to meetings to everything like that. It was my escape for me, and I really fell in love with it. And then I remember, if you remember, your junior year, my technically senior year, I wasn't going to use my COVID year because I was
Yeah.
dealing with family issues, and then I dislocated my elbow against John Carroll on senior night. That was really hard for me. I completely dropped out of school at that point, just dealing with things. And thank God I met Izzy, my wife now. Like, she helped me so much through there and helped me like figure out that quitting football was just me trying to take the easy way out. In me, started training again, and then came back for my 5th year option and really like got that All American my senior year, the Paul Horniman OAC D Lineman of the Year award, and then got me to go play pro. So football was my escape from reality for the most part, to try to deal with all those tough times.
For sure, man. For sure.
Zach, you said you were dealing with a bit of depression throughout that time. And looking at the stats that Cole wrote up for me, it's pretty incredible to see, everything that you earned with, D3 All-American, D3 All-Region twice, and stuff like that. And you said you were dealing with this depression, looking back at that and knowing what you were battling, how does that make you feel? How proud of you are you? You know what I'm saying? Because like me, just as an outsider looking in, that's an incredible story to hear, and just to know, you were dealing with this, but you were still pushing through it, and your greatness.
Yeah. So sorry, what was the question? Just a little bit more like how I
Just
felt about it.
just overall, how proud are you of yourself for overcoming this depression or dealing with that, and putting up all these incredible accolades still.
Oh, I still feel amazing about it. I still look back and think that I had bad seasons those years where I got all region and not all American. I I feel like I kind of sold myself a bit short, but looking back on it, I feel absolutely amazing that I was still able to do what I did out on that field. And not even as a field, I would like to say that even battling through that, I was still a good person as that as well, and be able to just keep my head up high about who I am. I definitely feel amazing about it.
Um, you know, a question from a friend here. If you had to give yourself advice, your younger self, high school Zach, what would you tell him now?
I would tell him honestly, just keep trying to get better. I feel like at one point after my freshman year at Heidelberg, I tied the sack record for single season sacks. I was multiple time D3, like player of the week. I personally feel like I got snubbed for linebacker of the year my freshman year because I was just a freshman, but I had the most sacks, most tackles in the conference. Uh, I got complacent after that. I really did. I shot up to, I didn't work out once all during winter break. I got up to 280. I really wanted to be into the Tubby gang because Pat wouldn't let me in it because
What was your Tully game name, Zach? Can
I
you
was
please
Brownie
share?
Batter Blackiston.
Brownie batter Blackiston and cocoa butter Cole. Come on,
Oh,
Yeah.
Tubby game
big game
OGs.
for that.
So for some of you guys that are just listening and have no idea what it is, so in a lot of football like cultures itself, there's little subcultures to be proud of. And the Tubby Gang is just the name that my freshman year, the seniors, Colin Pecoraro, came up with for the D line. We were the Tubby Gang, and everybody wanted to be a part of it. Even like quarterbacks and everybody like that wanted to be a part of it, but you had to be like a true D line like brother in that group. to be a part of it.
Yeah, that was quite some time, dude. Freshman year, they literally had all of the freshmen stand right in the front of the meeting room. Coach Mahookie was there. Shout out, fam. We were all just sitting up there, and all of the upperclassmen, I'm not kidding you, like they would each vote on what this person's nickname would be, and I'm not even kidding you. I'm not kidding you. Like, we sat up there for 45 minutes while these people were trying to debate on what name to give who. And it was not just that, but then you walk into this facility, right? You're a freshman, kind of scared. You just want to fit in, and, you want to play football and just do your thing. And I walk into my first meeting, and I walk in, there's three tubs of chewing tobacco on the table. Zach's got it all over his face, bro, just like in the teeth and everything. He's like, you want pinch? You want pinch of this? And I'm like, yeah. Anyways, it was a great time, dude. I mean, that's stuff that you won't ever forget. And I feel like COVID really cut us short. I mean, during that time, with that depression that you had and everything you had going on at home and at your home and your at home life, what really got you through? And, as far as non-football related, like, what would you tell your younger self and, your future self, even if you had to give that person advice?
Advice, for relationships, it doesn't matter if it's romantic or just with friends, to always just try to hold yourself accountable to your word and really just try to be there and be a good friend. Because my wife, Izzy, she really like dug me out of it and helped me push through it all the way. And like you, even as well, Cole, you helped me through it. We both have stories of me not being in the best place mentally, but you were just always there for me. And I just want you to feel like that I'm always going to be here for you no matter what. So I would tell what were you going to say? My bad.
Like, I don't know. We both believe in the higher power, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, I think back to a Bible verse. It's Jeremiah 29:11. You remember I used to write it down every game on my wrist. Do not worry, for I'm with you. And I think about that every day. I wake up and, I reminisce that stuff, dude. And you never really realize how much correlation just a simple sport has to your life, man. And really, like, I know that, I mean, we'll get into it. When you left Heidelberg and you went and played in the All-American Tropical Bowl, and started your IFL career, dude, like, you completely took a leap of faith. You left Ohio, went down to the hot, fiery state of Arizona. Shout out Derek Gonzalez.
Absolutely.
Dude, take us through that. Like, I mean, you were down there with your football team and Izzy. Like, I want to know some more details about this. Like, what all you went through, how it molded you, and what, like, ultimately just what you experienced while you were there, man.
Absolutely. So I'll start with the bowl games. So after the last fall season, I got the All-American. I got invited to the FCS Daytona Bowl. FCS through NAIA schools, where there's the smaller school bowl down in Daytona. A whole bunch of scouts, everything like that. They measured me at 6'3". I swear I'm 6'4". I played well down there. I had a big TFL on a drive. My team got blown out, but I played pretty well. Ironically enough, I didn't just play traditional D end or hybrid outside linebacker. I actually played D tackle and nose guard in that game. And 245-pound me playing nose guard against like FCS kids but what was crazy was I was like, these kids aren't better than me. In one-on-ones and everything like that, these kids weren't better than me. And I didn't get a sack in the game. I had a few QB pressures, but I played well enough there and got some exposure and got invited to the Tropical Bowl, the FBS Tropical Bowl. The tight end from Michigan was there, a few Big Ten guys, other small schools like that. The quarterback that was at James Madison played on the other team. So I was going through that, talking to a few more scouts. Actually, funny story of the Lion scout that I talked to actually went to Heidelberg.
Really?
Yeah, I forget his name, but that's why I kind of talked to the Lions a little bit. They were upset that I did not go to my pro day because I was in camp for the IFL already. Probably would have changed that if I could go back and do my pro day up at Toledo. But I got good exposure there. I played well. I got a sack against FCS center and a guard from Illinois. Big Hits Live. Shout out to that for him for getting that amazing video of me doing that. Played well, and I was on top of the world. I was like, oh, this is finally going to be time for like me to achieve my dream of playing professional football at any level that I could. Started training for my pro day. That eventually never came because I signed the contract, but training for my pro day out in PA. At Grassetti's Performance, just absolutely killing myself. If you want a good tricep burner, Cole, do the 100 rep challenge time for bench after a chest day. You put even 2 10s on, and I tell you, by the time that you hit 100, your arms will fall off.
Yeah.
Like, no joke. It's terrible. But I got stronger, I got bigger, I got faster.
So now, transitioning from the bowl games you were playing, I was going to look this whole time. I was going to fly down to Arizona, but, I was in the midst of trying to figure out what I was doing after school. Dude, yeah. Take me through, like, some of the challenges you faced while you were at in Arizona playing for the SugarSkulls down there.
So some of the challenges, one, the heat. Absolutely killer. It's like we practiced outside. We didn't get to practice indoors, even though we played in an arena. We practiced outside in the heat. Practice started at 9:15. At 9:15, guess how hot it was? It was like 95 degrees, and it only rained 3 times. And I'm so used to Ohio, I'm like, oh, if it's going to get that high, it's going to be humid. No. If it got to 10% humidity out there, it was lucky. But it was hot, so that, and just the talent level that was there, like my friend Dallas, my friend Jacob, like Jacob played at a D3 but is still good enough to be there. My friend Dallas played at D2 school in Texas. Literally our center played at Louisiana, and then our other guard, because it's 3v3 up front, literally he played in the NFL. Ice Fasham, something like that. We called him Ice. He played for Buffalo. He played for the Vikings. Like, he's legit. So going against that talent gap, and I was able to get wins and everything like that. Like, it was hard mentally to be like, dude, do I even like deserve to be here? Because I'm the only like D3 guy here other than Jacob. So the talent gap was there. Just trying to the indoor game. If anybody's never watched it, so much faster than outdoor football. Like, you have less than a second to try to get a sack before that bad boy's out. It's kind of like Canadian football where the receivers can go in motion, and it's a shortened field. The whole field's only 50 yards. So the skill level of the higher talent, because it's not college anymore, like, it's grown men. I played against the quarterback that ended up at San Diego. He was drafted in the 7th round out of Miami of Ohio. I played against Marshawn Lynch's little brother. Dog. Absolute dog. He ran so hard. But, like, that was a challenge in itself, and trying to learn a new position. I started the year playing D end. We had an injury at nose guard, and then after that, I kind of bounced back between playing nose guard, playing D end. Coaches weren't happy with how I was playing for a little bit, so I took a week, sat on the bench, didn't dress, anything like that, because our nose guard at the time, he graduated from Texas A&M Commerce, but he played at UNLV. So strong. Literally the strongest man I've ever met in my life. Also, one of the funniest cats ever. Oh, so trying to play with that talent gap and learn a new position was definitely a challenge for me. I used my speed because I was undersized. I think I got to 250 playing nose guard against professional athletes. but still doing well. If I didn't decide to retire after this year, I've already had a contract offer, but I decided not to take it. I'm done with football now.
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess that takes us into, the next phase. Or have you got any questions on his indoor football career or kind of, I mean, the only other thing that I was going to ask was while you were there and you were playing indoor football, what did you do like on the side? Like, was it all just football, 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 or did you have to get like a side job or do certain things while you're down there that like also pose challenging to you or
No, so I'll go into that a little bit. So the team, the ownerships, they provide you housing and they provide you food vouchers for food throughout the week.
yeah
So Izzy and I didn't stay at the free housing. It was just an apartment complex that they rented everybody out. So, but Izzy and I wanted our same place, so we got a long-term Airbnb, and yeah, she drove for Uber while we were out there. Sometimes I drove for Uber Eats just to make a little bit more money. But other than that, it was pure football for me. Like studying the playbook, trying to learn every position, what everybody does on every single play,
yeah
on top of studying film for the other opponent.
yeah
So for me out there, it was mostly football, football, football. If I wanted to, I could have got a side job because we got in the facility at 7 a.m., got out of the facility at 2, so the rest of the day would have been on me.
yeah
But I decided just to strictly play football because I was making a little bit of money through Uber Eats and had my food basically paid for already, so I didn't have any expenses out there
what was
other than
the what was the,
gas.
what was the sketchiest side hustle that you did while you were there?
Definitely Uber Eats. That was the only one I did, but uh, it was I wasn't familiar with Tucson. Tucson is absolutely gigantic, by the way, and I swear people cannot drive. So the traffic was crazy. I delivered a Little Caesars to a hotel one time that was pretty sketchy. They had like the bulletproof glass like on there, and I was just like, I'm trying to deliver this pizza to whoever this person is, and they like just leave it there, and I was like,
Oh
well,
wow, they definitely
okay,
yeah, they didn't get that pizza.
yeah.
Real quick, Zach, we only got like 2 minutes left, but what was just kind of that ultimate decision to to not take that next contract and just to move on and away from football?
So it was so stressful. It was very stressful. It kind of ruined it for me, like the love of the game. It's not the playing professionally. It wasn't the same as college for me. I I'm very close with all my friends at Heidelberg. Like, yeah, they're friends of mine out there now, but we didn't have that close knit bond that we had, and it just kind of like drained it for me. Uh, I just want to focus on my next career life, uh, because I know at the end of the day, football is not going to define who I am.
Absolutely.
So I'm up to bigger and better things now. Izzy and
You
I are
know,
doing good, having full-time jobs, both of us.
absolutely, man. And congratulations on that. I got one last
Thank you.
question before the time gets cut off here. If you could give any of the younger generation, younger athletes, word of advice as far as life and I mean even sports go, what would you tell them?
Other people's thoughts of you don't define who you are. They really don't.
100%, man. 100%.
Uh, because at the end of the day, you know you, and if somebody you're going to be the bad guy in somebody's story every time. It doesn't matter how good of a person you are. So you shouldn't worry about what other people's perspective of you are because you don't want it to negatively impact yourself. Because
100%,
at the
man.
end of the day, if you do, it's only going to hinder you in the long run.
Absolutely, man. And I mean, I know you're one of my good friends. Irv's learned a lot about you through this, and dude, we just appreciate you taking the time. Shout out to Zach. Shout out Tucson, Arizona SugarSkulls, man. Um, it's been a pleasure.
Oh, it's been
Make
a
sure
pleasure
make
being
sure
here.
make sure all you guys, Zach, you got your handles for anything that you'd like anybody to follow you up on, or
My Instagram is zblack26. Facebook Zachary Blackiston. The actual one is me on my wedding day with my wife. If you see me in a Ken Ganley Kia shirt, that's my professional account. But if anybody is in the market for a brand new or pre-owned vehicle, come to Kia in Medina, the region's #1 Kia dealership.